Hello and welcome to another episode of Knowing Your Basic Human Rights. So today we're going to be talking about a topic that people generally don't like to talk about, especially in this part of the country where I come from, that's Nigeria. Most people really don't like to hear it, they don't like having such conversation because they have a way of believing you don't want me to succeed in my marriage, or because you're single, you're not wishing me well in my marriage. No, disabuse your mind from such thoughts. When a thing is existing and is living amongst us, there is absolutely nothing wrong with having the requisite knowledge surrounding that thing to better guide you when you're faced with such circumstances. So today, we're going to be talking about dissolution of marriage. What is the meaning of dissolution of marriage? Dissolution of marriage simply means legally terminating your union with your spouse. That is calling it quits, ending your marriage, whichever terminology that better suits your definition. But just understand the fact that when you hear the word dissolution of marriage, simply means the process of putting an end to your legal union with your spouse. So I'm going to be talking about types of marriage. Note that there are several types of marriages depending on people's culture, traditions, and belief system. I'm going to be talking about two types of marriage, that is customary marriage and marriage under the act, otherwise known as statutory marriage. What is customary marriage? Customary marriage simply means marriage under native law and custom. When two consenting adults choose to get married in their native law and custom, by so doing, you will say you have been legally bounded in customary marriage in accordance with the native law and custom. Now note that when you want to dissolve your marriage under customary law, you need not necessarily go through the whole hog of going to the court to dissolve. Upon returning of the dowry paid on behalf of your spouse or paid on your behalf, the marriage will be deemed adequately dissolved. But kindly note this very important part. When you want a court to make certain pronouncements with respect to your customary marriage, maybe there is a child emanating from that marriage, or there's some certain properties that you acquired with your spouse during the pendency of the marriage, then you will have to approach the customary courts. It is the customary courts that have the requisite jurisdiction to make certain pronouncements with respect to customary marriage. When you approach the court, you follow through the necessary court proceedings. Court will make certain pronouncements that will be binding on both parties after duly dissolving your union. Another type of marriage, which is very popularly known as marriage under the act or statutory marriage, is simply marriage under the act. Either you go to church, of course note that the church must be a licensed place of worship, or you go to the court registry and you'll be duly wedded under the act, and of course subsequently certificates of marriage will be issued to you. By so doing, you have been married under the act. When I say licensed place of worship, I know most of you will be thinking, is it all churches that have the license to wed? The answer is no. It is not all churches that have the license to wed. Some of you, I know some of you are probably wondering, is it only Catholic Church? Is it only Anglican Church? Is it only Orthodox churches that have the license to wed? The answer is no. Kindly note this, maybe this is the only thing you take away from this video, that any church that has a license to wed, which has carried out every rules and regulation as stipulated in section 6 of the Marriage Act, and subsequently conferred with the license to wed by the Ministry of Interior of the country, such a church will have the license to join couple union. And once that is done, you can conveniently say you've been married under the act. Now to the topic of the day, the question of how do I dissolve my marriage under the act? Oh, I'm tired of this union, or I want out, or I want out. How do you go about this? Just before I proceed, I would like to admonish you, the viewers, or you that is currently under the sound of my voice. Please always allow divorce to be your last option. That is to say, where you must have explored every alternative dispute resolution, and the only option available or left for you to explore is divorce. Only then can you visit this very option. Always give your marriage a chance to thrive, to go through challenges, to survive it, and weather the storms that comes in marriage before settling for dissolution of marriage. In all fairness, I am a firm advocate of walk away if it will cost you your life, because nothing, absolutely nothing, is worth your freedom or worth your life. When I use the word worth your freedom, of course, when you kill your spouse because of whatever reasons best known to you, by so doing, you will be guilty of murder. You'll be charged adequately for doing that. And by so doing, your freedom will be deprived. The question is, will it really be worth it at the end of the day? So by the time couples have gotten to that climax where they see each other as grave enemies, they can no longer withstand each other's presence, all they see is grave anger, hatred, venom, at the very point where all they want to do is to snuff the life out of each other. I am a firm advocate of please take a break from such a union. Now back to the topic of the moment. How do I dissolve my marriage under the Act? Now when you want to dissolve your marriage under the Act, all you need to do is, I usually advise people to approach any legal practitioner of your choice to give you the proper guidelines, to prepare a petition, file it at the High Court. State High Court is the courts that have the requisite jurisdiction to dissolve marriage under the Act. Hear me again. State High Court is the court that have the jurisdiction to dissolve marriage under the Act. You approach any legal practitioner of your choice who will file the necessary petition for dissolution of marriage, serve it on your partner or your spouse, as the case may be, who then becomes the respondent. And of course, the respondent will be given the opportunity to be heard. Parties will present their cases in court. Witnesses will be called if need be, hear that word. And then courts, after being satisfied that the marriage has broken down irretrievably, will make a pronouncement of dissolution of marriage, and your marriage will be deemed adequately dissolved. Now, I want to quickly drop this here. I know a lot of you watch Nigerian movies or watch several series, several movies where you see people flip paper at their partners. Oh, sign this, I want out of the marriage, and the marriage will be deemed dissolved. Hello, that is not applicable in this part of the country where I come from. Because our law abhors encouraging dissolution of marriage, there is no signing of papers or consent to dissolve a marriage. Processes must be duly observed. Parties will go to court, and the length of time that trial will take depends on circumstances surrounding the dissolution of the marriages. Are there properties that parties want to share? Are there children to the marriage? A custody issue is being struggled? All this will be a determinant factor as to the length and time it will take to dissolve a union. So wake up from the very perception that parties can sign a document and deem marriage dissolved. It is not applicable here. Now note this, for some of you who are in the habit of wedding under the Act, and then you go to another state or to another country and marry another woman or marry another man. Now note that section 15 of the Marriage Act prohibits you from doing that. Once you're married under the Act, the law says you have only right to be married to one partner, because when you do otherwise, you can be charged for the offense of bigamy, which is a criminal offense. So in conclusion, I hope you've learned something new today, and I hope you equally become more comfortable with having this conversation. There is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with having a requisite knowledge surrounding a thing. It doesn't necessarily mean someone is encouraging you to dissolve your marriage. This is a reality that is living amongst us. why don't we embrace it and better prepare for the future by way of saying, okay, if this comes, what do I do? If it doesn't come, well, so be it. Let divorce be your last option. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more juicy videos. Thank you.